Hello, I'm Paul Hillier and I am Artistic Director of Chamber Choir Ireland. And I want to tell you a little bit about a series of 4 concerts that we're presenting. We shall be presenting the complete motets of Johann Sebastian Bach. In each of these 4 programs, they will then be contrasted with music by other composers from different epochs. In this program, we then have the earliest music in the whole series and the latest music. This has 3 motets by Bach. Fürchte dich nicht, ich lasse dich nicht. This is the one that was regarded as spurious for a long time, but I think has finally been accepted as Bach himself. And finally, Jauchzet dem Herrn, which is the piece that is both by Bach and Telemann, put together, I think, by Bach. The latest is by the Irish composer David Fennessy. A few years ago, Chamber Choir Ireland commissioned a new piece from David, which was called A Letter to Michael. This was a very powerful piece, and I was very impressed with it. So I commissioned a second piece, Neo Reminiscaris, it turned out to be, which is based on the music of Orlando's Lassus, one of the penitential psalms. And again, very powerful piece. And so we've commissioned a third piece, which will be given its first performance in this concert. And in fact, all 3 of these pieces will be performed as a trilogy. I don't know that David Fennessy has been thinking of these pieces as motets, but in a sense that is precisely what they are, if you take a sort of the long historian's view of what the word motet has been used for. And that takes me to the very earliest music, which explores some of the very first kind of pieces that were described as motets. The earliest of these is from the 13th century by a French composer, Adam de la Halle, and it's related to the tradition of Robin and Marion, which is a pastoral play. There's nothing religious about it whatsoever. And the fact is that the first time the word motet was used, the first period of time in which it was used, it generally referred to a secular piece of music with interesting words. And it's the presence of the words that gave this genre its name, from the French for word, which is mot. Many of these early motets, they're quite short pieces, but they consist of usually 2 different texts, very often on related subjects or even about the same subject, but maybe from different points of view. So you have a kind of polyphony or a counterpoint of texts rather than just in the music. It sounds very intellectual. The point is the music was not composed to be performed in concerts. Concerts didn't exist in those days. They were for the pleasure of the performers and maybe just a few friends gathered together to enjoy this new kind of music as it then was. And so we start with one of the first motets ever. Then we do a motet by Machaut, probably the greatest composer of the 14th century. So in these 3 little pieces, we get a taste of what the earliest motets were like.